Well, good morning. Welcome to Daily Videos with me, Pastor Michelle. Today's Monday, February 8th, and let's get started with prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Excuse you. Sorry, that was Lemmy. So let's hear a reading from Hebrews. For it is clear that he did not come to help angels, but the descendants of Abraham. Lemmy, are you okay? So, God's love note. My son did not come to earth to dwell among and honor the angels, the perfect, those without sin. Jesus came for you to thrive, you, my treasured creatures, in all your imperfections. Just as Abraham and his descendants were imperfect, Jesus came for you to reconnect to all of my sacred creation. So, today I invite you to reflect on how I've shown up for your spiritual ancestors and how I might be showing up for you right now. And I invite you to let me in to help, to heal, to comfort, to nudge you into who you were created to be. And so let's dive right into Humans of New York. We're not going to hear about someone from the LGBT community today because I left that book at work. But let's hear from Humans in New York. So this was a picture seen in Washington Heights. It's a really pretty picture. And here we go. Paige passed me the puck and I scored a goal. And then here's another team. They say the team lost 11-2. Whose fault was it? Definitely not ours. They never put us in the game. How many of you played sports when you were younger? I will say that I am your stereotypical lesbian, I guess you could say. I did play softball. I think when you become a lesbian, you have to sign an agreement that says you'll play softball. I'm just kidding. That was just a joke. But I did play softball when I was in high school. I played basketball. Basketball was more my jam. And, side note, I played through 8th grade and 9th grade. I remember I started going to conditioning. It wasn't even tryouts yet. And I still remember this to this day. I remember thinking, I don't feel like working this hard to do this. And I quit. And I didn't play in high school. I was actually a fairly decent basketball player, even though I was on the bench more. I was, maybe I'm not the best, but I felt like I was pretty skilled in basketball. And I feel like if I would have actually put more effort and actually stuck with it, I probably could have gotten a scholarship for college or played in college. But it's one of those, it's my one regret among many. I do have other regrets, but that's a regret of mine that I decided to quit basketball when I was in 9th grade simply because I didn't feel like putting the work in. But an important thing to remember is that sometimes the things that are most worth it take the most work. And that's an important thing to remember. So anyway, let's get into Catching Fire, or Mockingjay. I keep saying Catching Fire. So let's hear what's happening with Katniss and her friends. We thought it might be comforting for you to have your regular team, Plutarch says. Cena requested this. Cena requested? I snarled him, because if there's one thing I know, it's that Cena would never have approved of the abuse of these three, who he managed with gentleness and patience. Why are you treating them like criminals? I honestly don't know. There's something in his voice that makes me believe him, and the pallor on Fulvia's face confirms it. Plutarch turns to the guard, who's just appeared in the doorway with Gale. I was only told they were being confined. Why are they being punished? For stealing food. We had to restrain them after an altercation over some bread, the guard said. Vienna's brows come together as if she's trying to make sense of it. No one would tell us anything. We were so hungry. It's just one slice she took. Octavia begins to sob, muffling the sound in her ragged tunic. I think of how the first time I survived the arena, Octavia sneaked me a roll under the table because she couldn't bear my hunger. I crawl across to her shaking form. Octavia, I touch her and she flinches. Octavia, it's going to be all right. I'll get you out of here, okay? This seems extreme, Plutarch says. It's because they took a slice of bread? There were repeated infractions leading up to that. They were warned. So they took more bread. The guard pauses a moment as if puzzled by our density. You can't take bread. I can't get Octavia to uncover her face, but she lifts it slightly. The shackles on her wrist shift down a few inches, revealing raw sores beneath them. I'm bringing you to my mother. Unchain them. The guard shakes his head. It's not authorized. Unchain them now, I yell. You like my acting there? This breaks his composure. Average citizens don't address him this way. I have no release orders, and you have no authority to do it on my authority, Plutarch said. We come to collect these three anyway. They're needed for special defense. I'm going to take full responsibility. The guard leaves to make a call. He returns with a set of keys. The preps have been forced into cramped body positions for so long that even once the shackles are removed, they have trouble walking. Gale, Plutarch, and I have to help them. Flavius's foot catches on a metal grate over a circular opening in the floor, and my stomach contracts when I think of why a room would need a drain. The stains of human misery that must have been hosed off these white tiles. In the hospital, I find my mother, the only one I trust to care for them. It takes her a minute to place the three, given their current condition, but already she wears a look of consternation, and I know it's not a result of seeing abused bodies, because they were her daily fare in 12, but the realization that this sort of thing goes on in 13 as well. My mother is welcomed into the hospital, but she's viewed more as a nurse than a doctor, despite her lifetime of healing. Still, no one interferes when she guides the trio into an examination room to assess their injuries. I plant myself on a bench in the hall outside the hospital entrance, waiting to hear her verdict. She will be able to read in their bodies the pain inflicted upon them. Well, God bless them. So we'll hear tomorrow. You know, it's an interesting thing I want to point out is that I think of like those who have been imprisoned and like held captive for so long, even when the chains are gone, they still act like they're imprisoned. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah. I mean, those who have been enslaved for so long, it's hard to really grasp that you're actually free. Yeah, I'm going somewhere with that, but I don't know exactly where. I was going to wax poetically about something there, but I'll just say, God bless you all. Have a good day.